Hello? Hi, Christina. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi, how are you?
Good.
I can see your PowerPoint just fine, so it looks like you're all set up.
Yes.
Oops. And we've started recording. Good. Okay. All right. Let me go to the next one so I can make sure they're being recorded.
Okay.
Good luck on your presentation.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good afternoon, Karen. This is Lauren Talley. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm going to be doing your introduction briefly at the beginning. Is there anything specific you'd like me to reference?
I don't think so. Do you need anything specifically?
Not necessarily. Honestly, I like to give people the opportunity to introduce themselves because that way they can tell people what they want them to know.
Okay.
And my apologies for my camera being off. I crazily triple booked myself today. So I'll be at a stopping point in about 15 minutes.
No problem.
Are you downtown today, or are you being afforded the opportunity to work from home?
No, I'm doing it virtually today. I just didn't want to against not being stuck on the highway somewhere, so I'm just being able to do it from home.
I completely understand that.
Yes.
Karen, it looks like we've got about 2 more minutes just to
Okay.
give you an
Karen. It's Deidre.
Hi, Deidre. How are you?
I'm good. How's life?
Good, good. Things going well at ABAC?
Yes, we're trying to finish them up right now so we can close down and not have them back till January and hopefully not have to deal with COVID in the meantime.
Right. Are your students going to have the exams online?
No, they're doing their exams starting tomorrow and they'll be
Oh.
done.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that.
And then when do they come back?
Not till like January, I don't know, mid-January.
Yeah, a little bit later.
So I think that'll be really good.
Yeah.
We've managed to make it pretty good so far.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all's numbers look good.
All right, Karen, I think that we've got 1:45 on the dot. Are you ready to go?
I am.
Fantastic. Well, this is Lauren Talley with Lanier Tech. I serve as Vice President for Institutional Advancement, and I have the esteemed honor of presenting Karen McCauley today, who's the Vice Chancellor for Development at USG. And she's going to be giving us some information on a successful campaign, and how that fits in with our institutional missions and gifts. So, with that, Karen, I'll let you take it away.
Great. I'm so glad to be here today and really appreciate GAC putting together such a terrific looking at all the sessions and also, just making it available in this new environment. So I appreciate that introduction. I currently work with the University System of Georgia, so I have the pleasure of working with many of you that are on the call across the state, but really looking at private giving. And before my time at the system office, I worked in nonprofit and higher education running some of the campaigns, ran a national campaign for Habitat for Humanity, and then my last institutional campaign was Auburn University's last campaign, which topped out at about $1.2 billion, so it was a really large scale campaign. So I've been in small shops and I've been in large shops, and now in this position I've been in about 3 years. I kind of get to see 26 different institutions and how they're looking at fundraising. So today I really wanted to just share some of what I've learned from the nonprofit arena as far as kind of how they're setting up the modern day planning for campaigns, and sort of focus on, sometimes we're so focused on the dollars we might not realize that also a campaign, another success element is truly to amplify the impact of your institution's mission. Really kind of be the sounding stage for all the good that's going on your campuses. I put this in my description for this session today, but Eisenhower wrote, "Plans are worthless, but planning is everything." And I think what he meant really is that, when we look at the details of plans that are designed sort of years in advance, by the time we get into the true nuts and bolts of the campaign, those plans may seem stale. And so you wonder, how much activity should we do before a campaign? But my experience, and maybe you share similar experiences, the experience of planning, going through the process, the contingency plans, that problem solving, all of that process really demands discipline when you're in planning. And so even though the plans, when you get to them, may seem stale, that process can be really valuable. And I think that's what Eisenhower was saying, was that, that process of kind of thinking through contingencies, how you would move things around, becomes very, very valuable when we start to explore options or contingency plans in our own decision making. And so for me, I've heard some people say, well, planning is like setting up dominoes. If you set them up correctly, then everything should move smoothly. But that's really not been my experience. My experience has been more like what Shakespeare says, that sometimes striving for the betterment, we sometimes mar what we're already doing well. And I think what that means is, having excellent mean the enemy of good. I find with my planning is that, almost anything can seem like a failure in the middle. You're trying new things in a campaign, you're trying new messages, but that's really where the good part comes, is where we're kind of tweaking ourselves, changing things, seeing what messaging is resonating with our audience, what are our donors giving back to us. And so I like to think of it as not so much of the dominoes, but more of kind of a long and winding trail that hopefully leads to success. One of the items that I think in higher ed we're really focusing on in the modern day campaign is doing a better job of really saying what is the purpose of the campaign, far beyond just what is that monetary goal, but also just looking at how do we explain ourselves succinctly. And so I put a few examples here. I know when we planned years ago a campaign for Habitat for Humanity, we came up with sort of a succinct message. And the message was that it took Habitat for Humanity 25 years to build the first 100,000 houses. So 25 years, 100,000 houses. And after that, we found that children performed better in school, parents either found jobs or performed better in their career, health improved, and the family dynamic improved. And we found all that after the 25 years. And so what we wanted to do was build 100,000 houses in 5 years. We wanted to compact the timeline. It took us 25 years, but we wanted to do it in 5 years. And that message really resonated, and we were able to achieve that. I think sometimes in higher ed, because of the complexities of all the different components, all the different schools and colleges that you have on a campus, it can get mired down, that message of what is the purpose. But I encourage you to really think about that, and that probably in your planning process will take the longest, quite frankly, is finding the purpose of your campaign. A key part of that is really trying to define what is the highest and most enduring purpose of the school or college. In other words, when you look at where you want to be in the future following the campaign, and even 5 or 10 years after the campaign, what really are those specific goals that are going to get you to a new frontier? And this, to me, is probably the most challenging part of the process. And if you're on a large campus, you start to break it down with all of your schools and colleges, what do they want to look like going forward? Frankly, I'm finding that I think nonprofits are doing a better job storytelling, and I think we're trying to catch up. I've always said I thought higher ed did a better job of kind of sharing the impact after a gift with donors. We do a really good job of going back and telling what the impact. Sometimes, though, we get mired down in the details on the beginning, telling that story. I sometimes back, and believe me, I'm a professor's daughter, so I have absolute respect for our faculty members. But I don't know if you've ever had that conversation with a faculty member where you're trying to ask, what is your research, or what did you write your dissertation on? And you find that the entire conversation is around the methodology. And you probably start to turn that off because that's faculty speak. And what you're more interested in is what is the research going to provide in that area of understanding or knowledge? What is the new knowledge created? So it's just a matter of messaging. And if you've had that experience, you can probably put it towards a campaign as well. just like a professor might only speak about methodology, sometimes we only speak about the fundraising dollars or the metrics or how we're going to measure, rather than really what our wanting to hear is, what is the new day going to bring? What after the dawn of this campaign, what will this campaign do for our institution? So I think we really do have to look at how nonprofits are putting that together. A good part of this in defining the purpose of the campaign is working with your deans or your academic leaders. At my last campaign at an institution, we formulated this sort of 6-step process. And I can tell you, it took us, we worked with every dean and every academic leader on campus, a large R1 school, and it took us about 8 months to go through this process before we entered a campaign, because it takes time to think through that. And we tried to talk about, you know, we tried to, when I spoke with deans, when I spoke with academic leaders, I said, if you're only going to talk about what is urgent, what are your urgent needs today and tomorrow, then you should expect a lot of small gifts. People will give to urgent issues, but they tend to be small. But if you're wanting some of those large gifts and you want an opportunity maybe for a transformational gift, you don't talk about urgent issues, you talk about important issues. What is the most important? It's not about what we need, but what needs are we addressing in the world? And that sort of reframed it for our deans and our leaders. They had to kind of think, okay, it's not what I need today or tomorrow, but what will our school or college, what will our university, what will our campus look like the dawn after this campaign ends? And that takes on a whole new kind of level. So 6 steps. I'll be glad, you know, this is what we came up with. There's certainly other examples out there, and I'd be glad to describe, to share with you offline if you're in that process of learning about defining purpose. One of the things is when you start to create your case for support is not only are you defining the purpose, but you're having to kind of convince your donors that the money they give will actually get to where you want to be on that dawn after the campaign, as you say. And a gap analysis really does that. It's kind of where we are today and where we want to be, and what are those resources that we need for a new day. And this really starts to build that case. When I think about this and I talk to leaders on campus, I go back all the way to Aristotle's kind of triad of persuasion. You know, if you look at persuasion, he said first that there needed to be ethos or credibility. So absolutely, you have to have credible leaders. There has to be a trust in your leadership. There has to be a trust in the direction. And then, of course, you have to have ethos, which is that excitement, that feeling, that passion around it. As well, and that pathos. And then also just there has to be some belief that it's reasonable, you know, that the goal that you have is reasonable. And yes, if I invest my dollars, I will get the institution will get to where they want to be. And this sort of reasonableness, that sort of third angle on the triangle that Aristotle talked about, how reasonable is it? That really is where your advancement officer can come into play. The donor is probably going to look to you and say, well, if I invest in the endowment or if I invest in this program, is it reasonable that we're going to get to the next step? And so I think you have to really start to think about that when you're looking at your case for support. One of the examples that I always go back to, and I don't know if you're familiar, is the American Prairie Reserve. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the American Prairie Reserve, but this is out in Montana. And the goal was really out in Montana, and I'm going to show you a little clip here in a moment, was it's a private enterprise working with National Geographic, that they wanted to assemble enough land that they could actually have a vast mosaic of existing public lands that would build the largest wildlife conservation area that we have in the nation, and one of the largest in the world. They estimated that they needed roughly about 3.2 million acres, if you can believe that. That's over 5,000 square miles to have a fully functioning ecosystem. And since 2004, they've actually been able to parcel together over 400,000 acres. Basically, their plan was they had so much land in a refuge and they wanted to buy the title or either the future title to those lands in between. So in other words, they might buy land and then lease it out to the current owners for the next 2 generations, but eventually they wanted to have this land. So all of their planning, they realized how much land they needed. They talked to all of the owners of those properties, and so they kind of had an estimate on how much money they would need to make this, and they really put together a solid plan and are being very, very successful. Now you might be thinking, well, what does the American Prairie Reserve have to do with what we're doing on my campus? And I share this example because I want you to see what I'm seeing out there with nonprofits, that they're doing very, very good at showing what a new day will look like, maybe better than we are in higher ed. And so I think we can learn from them. And also, we're naive to think that our donors are not getting these same messages for nonprofits. They're getting these same messages from nonprofits. And so we too need to be able to build our story. I'm going to show you a clip that they put together. I will say it's about 4 minutes, so it's longer than I would typically put in a presentation like this. But I think it does such a great job of showing and kind of what I'm experiencing, what I'm reading about is we've got to do a better job on this sort of creating a case for support. Also, I just thought at this time of day, you've been virtual for a while, so it might be nice for you to see some outdoor and see some of the beautiful National Geographic pictures. So if you'll bear with me, it's a little lengthy, but I think it'll be a nice reprieve, and then we'll talk about it. Sure, can someone tell me, can you hear that?
No.
No, okay. Hold on one second. Okay, I had that feeling. Hold on 1 minute, let me just make sure that I do computer sound. Let's try one more time. All right. Let's try this time. Are you now able to hear it?
No, but I can click on the video and see it and watch it on my own computer.
Okay, so should they do that?
Works for me.
Okay. Thank you. If you'll do that, I'll play it here so I'll know.
Hey, Karen, it's Jody. Can you hear me?
Were you able to watch it, most of you?
How did you send the video? Did you send it as a link in the chat?
I did, and it's on the PowerPoint. I think some of them were watching it.
Yeah, I got about halfway, 3/4 way through.
Okay.
Yeah, I did too.
I
can play
got
it
the
from-
message.
Yeah, good, good. Well, and I can send it afterwards. I apologize. We did test it beforehand, but I think it didn't quite work as, you know, technology, we're all learning it for sure. So thank you for looking. But I think what you're starting to see is really a good kind of synopsis of how they created what I call a case for support. Looking at where we are today and where we want to be, and kind of using more of those stories. And I think American Prairie is one I've been watching because they do have such a succinct story that we have to kind of think about that in higher ed as well. Another part of the planning process that I think is very, very key. I'm sorry, I'm going to try to get off the screen just a moment. Give me just one moment. Another area is really setting expectations for your deans and your academic leaders, being sure that you're sharing with them beforehand what you're expecting in a campaign. We put together a one-pager in my last campaign, and I've seen many more across the state of Georgia, sort of working with the provost especially as to what it is that you expect from your deans. And a lot of this comes down to time. How much time do we need our deans to calendar when we enter a campaign? We set the VAR at 30% of their time, and unit resources would be on fundraising, but that's something you have to negotiate on your campuses, but it's critically important. And when I talk to deans about, okay, what does 30% of time mean? For us, for the campaign activity, it means really saving those dates on their calendar for advancement work, for getting in front of those donors. Again, it goes back to that sort of Aristotle's triangle of persuasion, is that credibility, our donors want to trust the leaders, they want to trust the direction. And I would say probably 10, maybe 15 years ago, meeting with a dean or an academic leader, if you were a major gift donor, was sort of a nice thing. But today, it's sort of a nicety. Today, it's really an expectation. Your top level donors will expect to meet with those. And so sort of setting that out. You can also see that we ask our deans to give, you know, make a gift commitment themselves. We want to lead by example. So all of those expectations on time, giving, and also kind of how you expect them to set up their advisory boards or be a part is a key component. And in our campaign, we did this after we went through that process of vision setting. You know, what is it? Where do they want to take it? And then we said, okay, if this is really where you, Mr. and Mrs. Dean, if this is, then this is really what we need from your office. And we got very little pushback. It helped at the time because we had a provost that was a previous dean on that same campus. And so he was able to share that he was able to manage those expectations. So as well. Another area that you'll spend a great deal of time is certainly developing your campaign timetable and budget. Create your campaign budget early. I really suggest, I like for the budget to be a percentage of the campaign goal. Our campaign ended in 2017. We did $1 billion campaign and it was 15% of that budget. I've heard anywhere from 10 to 20%. But I would suggest that you make it a percentage of your overall campaign budget. I also would highly suggest that your campaign budget not be annual allotments, because you're going to spend different amounts depending on where you are in the campaign. We spent not near as much in the first few years of planning as we did when we were in what would be the most visible part of the campaign. That's where most of our spending. And if we were bound by a certain amount every year, I don't think we would have been near as successful. So really kind of think about that. And you certainly want to think about the long-term implications of your budget. What are some kind of one-time expenses? Is this a time that you need to invest in your database? Is this in time you need to invest in kind of talent management or talent professional development, like what you're doing today? What are some investments that you can make that are one time or a few times that will really have long lasting effects? So certainly building that timetable and budget will be very, very critical. Also, there's so many elements of preparing your advancement teams. You can look at all of this. I don't think any of you that are in fundraising, any of this would be a mystery to you. But do know that it takes time to prepare the teams. The hiring up for a campaign, getting everyone in line should be very much a part of your timetable, and certainly bringing in professionals as well should be a part of your preparing of your advancement teams. We found that we spent the most time on creating the vision, but this was probably second. I did have a president recently, though, tell me that I said, what do you feel like chief advancement officers, how do they help you? And then how do they get mired down? What are some things that are not as helpful? And I thought his feedback, and he was a long time successful president, said, sometimes I think our leaders get too mired down in the organizational chart. Like, we certainly want to have a good organizational chart, but sometimes it can almost freeze us. It's better yet to just empower our teams to really move towards the vision. And so I thought that was interesting feedback, not something I had really thought about before too, is that you can sort of wring your hands over the organizational chart so much that, again, perfect becomes the enemy of good. And so we want to think through that as we feel through it. Oftentimes, advancement officers are saying, well, how do I measure success? And all of these are kind of some of the key measurements that we typically look at in a fundraising campaign. But more recently, institutions are also looking at certain affinity groups. For instance, do we want to grow parent giving? Do we want to grow grandparent giving in any way? I know at my last institution, we had a group, the Black alumni, who wanted to come forward, and they said, we really want to increase our giving. So we first had to measure, how many of our Black alumni were giving, and then what was their goal. And so they had a group, and so that was an affinity group. We also had a group of previous band members that wanted to give. And so sometimes you have these sort of measurements around affinity groups that can certainly be a part of your success. A part of that campaign, a big part of that was we felt like we needed to grow the endowment. And so that was a key component of our success, not only the overall donations, but also growing the endowment. We all start with that donor pyramid of how we're going to get to the end of the goal. And that's certainly a benchmark for us, the donor pyramid. It's still alive and well. But I think don't get so mired down, and if you don't get those top gifts, talk more about, what kind of participations are you getting from your important leaders. It was very, very important for us. Also, another benchmark of success that we talked about is that we had 100% of our top academic leaders give what we called a major gift. So they gave a substantial gift to the campaign. And we had 100% of our foundation board members give a major gift. And we really celebrated that and certainly encouraged that. So there was some peer pressure. And that was really very, very important, especially to give us liftoff. So the first 18 months of the campaign, we really focused on getting all of our internal gifts, those closest to us. And so you can kind of think about what are some other measurements of success that will give your campaign lift off as you start to think about planning as well. I also say, though, that it's not just knowing your success, it's reporting your success. And so whatever type of campaign report you come up with, and this was one that we used, we really wanted to be able to show the different types of support we got. You want to be as consistent as you can. In other words, the reports that you start off with in the more silent phase of the campaign should be very similar to those that you end the campaign. Now, sometimes, like I said, sometimes you find out something in the middle and you make a slight change, but you want it to be recognizable. So I can tell you that this report, all of our deans, all of our board members, all of our advisory boards, certainly our president, they were all very familiar with this report throughout the campaign and knew what it meant as we move forward. So in your planning process, don't just think about what are the metrics of success, but also sort of how do we report that? What is the formula? And we try to make it very, very succinct. Another way we reported it is that we sent out a very short snapshot, and this was at Auburn University, but I can tell you that I took this idea really from Habitat for Humanity and we tweaked it. This was a key performance dashboard. These were the elements of our campaign that we thought were very, very important. And we sent this out monthly to academic leaders and to our foundation. It was for internal consumption. It wasn't a marketing or anything like that, but it was to keep everyone apprised of where we were in the campaign. And so you can develop something very similar that is sort of just a quick snapshot. So how you report success, especially to your key stakeholders, is very, very important. Not just defining success, but also how you report that impact as well. And this took some time to develop. This is the front page. I can tell you the second and third page, we listed those major donors and we tried to tell a story about a gift every month. Similar to kind of what you just saw with the Prairie, we tried to say, this is what we hope for this new gift. Some things when you're talking to your donors during the campaign, there are some new horizons that they're going to understand just intuitively. Donors tend to understand graduation rates, wanting to increase those. They tend to understand the need for recruitment and retention of faculty, those types of those. But some other projects, perhaps you have a performing arts center, and sometimes this is not as intuitive to our donors. They might say, well, why are we spending money on our arts, or why are we spending money on museums? So talking about that sort of holistic student that we're trying to build for a new day is very, very important. So you'll want to think about, when you're talking about your measurements of success, what are those measures that we think our alumni, especially some of it's sort of generational, what are those that they intuitively know? They understand rankings, they understand student achievement. They may not understand the need for access as much. Speaking of generations, they may need to know why do we need to think about access? And so that might need more explanation as well. So we spent a lot of time kind of putting into buckets the projects that we wanted to fund and think about those that we thought might need more explanation to our donors. And that took a lot of planning as well. And so thinking about those stories. As you're moving through your campaign, and some of you probably had successful campaigns and you're thinking about a modern day, a new campaign, and certainly in a new environment, we're also having to think about how to bring in technologies like today. How do we bring in technologies? And so that's probably the newest component of, especially in a COVID environment, those who are thinking is what is those investments that we need to make to be sure that we have a modern day technology as well. And those can be quite an expensive, that can be quite an investment. And so kind of thinking through that on your budget as well. I wanted to pause there and just see if there were any questions. I'll open it up. Everyone's very quiet today. Let me see if there's anything on the chat board.
I don't think there's any question, but
Okay.
I will say that having worked in education and in nonprofits, I think your point is very, very well taken. That the campaigns in that I've worked on in education has, we kind of lean there, but we never really get there in talking about the impact that our graduates have on the region of the world, or the great things that they accomplish, and the things that the university does, the big picture that impacts the fabric of our society. It tends to be more loyalty and making the institution an institution rather than really impacting the world. And that part of your presentation really resonates with me.
Great, good. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'm sorry we had I hope some of you are able to watch the video at your leisure. First of all, anytime you get to watch National Geographic pictures, it's always, I think, inspirational. But those like American Prairie and all, I do think they really are showing what a new day, what the impact could be. And like I said, I think in higher ed, we do a great job after the fact. We go back, we talk about our students, where they are today, what happened. I think we do good there. Sometimes it's the liftoff, is kind of projecting what our vision is for the future, and we can get mired down in the details that, quite frankly, are not as inspirational. And so we need to be aware of what nonprofits are doing out there, again, because our donors are hearing those messages. And so we want our messaging to be as inspiring as our work. And our work is certainly inspiring on campuses. It's just sometimes our communication might be a little bit more challenged because it is so complicated. Thank you for sharing that. Other thoughts or comments? Is there anyone that is currently planning for a campaign that you might want to share some of your current experiences, especially in this environment?
Karen,
Karen,
I think looks
Seth
like
Walker.
everybody is tired.
Karen, it's Seth
Did
Walker
I
from
hear
Kennesaw
someone else?
State.
Hi, Seth.
And I just, we're in the process of planning for a campaign, and our biggest issue during COVID has been that our campaign committee is ready to get out and meet people, and we were trying to keep Broncos in the corral there because we don't want them, making people uncomfortable by meeting with them face to face. We've had a good time planning with our committees, getting them ready, and I think that once we get past the spring and get through vaccination, we're going to be ready to roll out in a big way.
Great. I would just say in general, don't underestimate the time for planning. Again, I'll go back to, I don't think it's like dominoes where it's all going to just go perfectly. That's not been my experience. But I think you're well served putting time in. And I think your greatest time will be creating that vision, that inspiring message. And then once you have that, kind of everything else falls into place for sure. Well, I appreciate it. I hope this was helpful today. And please, I've included my information as you're starting to plan your campaigns. If any of this resonated with you or any of these documents would be helpful for you, to tweak and make their own, by all means, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I appreciate it. And I hope you have a continued good afternoon. Thank you all.
Ms. McCauley?
Yes.
This is Phil from Savannah State.
Yes.
And I did one other comment or question, and I want to follow up on Seth's comment. We are mid-campaign, and we are trying to reinvigorate our Atlanta alumni base. We were in the process of expanding our major gift committee in that region, and that 4 or 5 county area, and have a great chair. But again, how do we approach reaching out to just not campaign volunteers, but allowing, they're ready to, as he was saying, they're chomping at the bit. They're ready to get out, meet people, bring people to the table for the institution, and both on the individual donor side, but also on the corporate business side. And so I'm kind of at a point right now in November where I'm trying to figure out what to do and how to move them forward without, face-to-face or in-person contact. I think you can do a bit with calls and with WebEx and Microsoft Teams, but I'm also hearing from them that if we start talking about this and start moving forward, some of them are going to make calls and trying to see people, and I just don't know, where our liability is and how to proceed, or how to keep the momentum there, but kind of keep them, from actually going out.
Right. So I think when you're planning, you're exactly right that a visit might look very different than it did pre-COVID. Today, in fact, I did meet. We had a potential donor that really needed to see a facility to be able to get his mind around what his gift could do. And so we spent a lot of time preparing for that meeting. There was 4 of us, and we actually sat outside, very social distant. We had water, we had tables, we sat outside, and then we really thought about, as we toured this facility, how we could have social distancing. We all had our masks, all of that. And so I think, the location, it does seem like people do feel better outside. We know the 6 feet. It can be done. It just takes a lot of discipline. And I think that's really what you have to go through. It's just the meeting is going to be different than when we used to just sit across from the lunch table from someone. So we had no food yesterday. We did have bottles of water, but nothing that would kind of distract from us knowing that we needed to be social distant. So a lot of planning went into it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I have heard of some of our institutions who they say we have a donor that really wants to visit us on campus, and so they're using their gardens, kind of outdoors again, being sure that it's very specific as to where everyone sat. And that's what we did yesterday. We had everything set up so that we all knew where we were going to sit. We were very, very specific with it. I hope that's helpful.
Well, it is, because right now they're just probably got 8 or 9 good meetings that we want to move forward on, but we've postponed them for the last month. And right. We're getting toward the holiday season and the end of calendar gifts, so they're kind of like, we need to make these asks. And a couple really don't want to do it via social media. They really feel that a face-to-face will, increase the opportunity to get a major gift for us. So I was just wondering, I know our president is we've talked about it, and she's real uncomfortable with it. So didn't know what other institutions were doing at this time.
Yeah, I think the location of the meeting, in other words, how much can you control? I would move away from food and beverage, because inevitably masks come off. But really, how much you can control. Is anyone else still on the call that can speak to that? Some of them I think have left, but that's what that was my experience yesterday, and we felt good about it. We felt like we were able to keep that distance and do it as safely as possible. But that was really my first donor visit in some time. So.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Sure. Okay, thank you all. Have a nice day.
Thanks, Karen.